Hi folks, Happy New Year and welcome back to my channel. My name is Noelle and today we are going to talk about the Nike React Infinity Run. So the Nike React Infinity Run is a pair of shoes that Nike introduced early this year, or maybe for some wear testers they introduced it to them tail end of last year. But myself and a few other runners and influencers were given the chance to preview these shoes and take them home um, sometime mid-January. And I did write a first impressions blog post about it, and I will link it below because that first impressions post will also have a lot of the technical info that you might want to find out about the Nike React Infinity. So I'm sure you've heard about the decision by World Athletics to kind of start limiting the stack heights of shoes and how running shoes use carbon fiber plates. And so the Vaporfly Next Percent just slid under World Athletics' new rules. And so, if those shoes were meant to make you go faster, the Nike React Infinity Run is meant to keep you on the road for longer, which means basically injury prevention. Because if there's anything that runners dread, it's getting injured and having to stop running for some time. So, that being said, let's take a look at the Nike React Infinity Run. The colorway that they came out in here in the Philippines, the first colorway, I think there are a few others now available because the shoe has gone into general release after January 31. But in any case, this is the original colorway that they came out in. It's a pure white plus pink and orange and neon green combo. That's really such an eye catcher. So check it out. So you have this full React midsole. You have a nice, hardy, durable rubber outsole. Your entire upper is made of Flyknit, and it looks to be like a single piece construction, but there's actually some reinforcement here. It's just a slightly thicker knit, and it's been woven to meet with the Flyknit here, and the tongue itself is kind of it's integrated, so there is no seam here as well. These laces, for all intents and purposes, could be decorative, but you can tighten them to some extent. The insole is fully removable, so you can wash it. And if you can take a look into the shoe, you will see that it's pretty much really, it looks super minimalist. The Nike React Infinity Run focuses on injury prevention and keeping runners on the road. And how does it do that? It's not technically a stability shoe because it's still pretty minimal here. I'm going to take out the insert and you will see how basically floppy it is. The only thing that's really built up here is this part, which is it's not the React. This is the React, but this is kind of like it cups your arches. So I guess this is what provides some of the stability functions of this shoe. This whole cup thing, because your foot sits inside it, not really inside it, but just it's cradled by this um, this material. They say that the Nike React Infinity Run has a wider midsole with more React, and this rocker-like bottom is it takes its cue from the 4% and the next percent, so that it gives you a nice transition from foot strike to toe off. Whether you strike in the midfoot or slightly to the rear foot, it just helps you to move that foot faster through so you can pick your feet up. So I received these shoes and I ran in them for the first time during an event that Nike held for me and the other runners. And they held a special Nike Plus Run Club session for us so that we could take these on a 3 kilometer run. Now that run was supposed to be at easy pace, but I was running amongst some fairly competitive pacers, and so we started picking up the pace throughout that 3K until we ended up going at just under tempo pace for me. And so I was able to see these shoes from comfortable jog pace all the way up to a little bit faster than I am running right now. I had such a fun time running in these shoes and they were super comfortable. So I decided to take them along with me on the race that I was going to do that weekend, which was the Singapore Aquathlon. Now, I'd signed up for the Singapore Aquathlon a while back, like maybe not even in November. I think I signed up for it in October, and I didn't realize how little training I would be able to get in over the Christmas holidays. I really didn't feel like I could use my normal race shoes for the aquathlon because they have thinner soles and I'm carrying a bit more weight than my body is used to, so I didn't want to put my body through that pounding. And so I thought that the React Infinity would be perfect because they do offer a lot of cushioning. They won't punish you if you go at a slow pace, but they also have enough pop in them if you wanted to go a little faster. I was able to push the pace somewhat, but of course I'm not really that fit at this point in the year, and so these shoes didn't punish me for not being that fit. In fact, they kind of helped because I didn't have any body aches after the race. And I've continued to use these shoes after that race for all of my training runs, which have been on treadmills. But basically, these have been about hour-long runs, and usually I get really bored and my body hurts afterwards. But running in the React Infinity made these runs easier on the body somewhat. I love React Foam. In fact, this is the first time I've actually run in React Foam. Prior to this, it was always Zoom and Lunarlon and all that other stuff that Nike used. React, for me, it's super comfortable to run in, and it's really, really, really lightweight. Also, because I used these in a race situation, I appreciated that there was no tongue to have to move out of the way as I slid my foot in, and this heel pull really helped me to pull the shoes in and up quite quickly. In fact, I think through transition at the Singapore Aquathlon, it only took me 30 seconds to get in and out of that transition area, so that's pretty fast. This fly knit is also super breathable, and even as I poured water on myself throughout that run, um, the water didn't really stay inside my shoes. They didn't like pool or anything, and so these are really comfortable to run in from start to finish. So the one issue that I had with the React Infinity run was also one of the positives that I named earlier, which is that it its tongue is integrated into the upper. Um, this shoe is slightly wider than I'm used to running in because I have a narrow foot, and um, I was given a size 8.5. I could probably have fit in a size 8 when you're talking about the width of the shoe. When you're talking about length, this fly knit is flexible enough so that if it's just a little bit shorter, your toes won't suffer from any pinching and whatnot. But since I was issued an 8.5, and this is actually my real size in Nike, um, this shoe was a little wide for me. So I tried to lace it up a little tighter so I would feel a bit more secure across the top of my foot. It can only go so far when you're lacing these up. But if you're looking for a more secure fit, especially with this kind of sock-like upper, that's not really going to happen. So my recommendation is if you want to buy this shoe, you really need to go to a store and try it on because your foot might not be shaped like mine. Like you might really love how this feels right out of the box. For me, because of my narrow foot, and my foot is not really a high volume foot, I kind of found myself wiggling inside this shoe, although it wasn't enough to like pull the shoe off completely while I was running. But sometimes I do catch myself like clawing my toes so that my foot would stay a bit more stable and in one place in this shoe rather than moving forward and backward. So that's one thing you need to consider. So when Nike did some testing with these shoes, they found that runners who used the React Infinity got less injured, or the rate of injury was less than the rate of injury runners experienced when using the Nike Structure, which is Nike's um, kind of like a support shoe or a motion control shoe. It's basically the shoe that you take if you have um, foot instabilities, etc., etc. So apparently, the Nike React Infinity Run users were injured 20% less of the time than those who used the Nike Structure 22. So I don't know what that really means for people. There might be some people who don't really need all the support and the motion control that a Nike Structure gives. And so they would tend to get more injured if their natural foot strike and running motion were controlled in ways that were not biomechanically efficient for them. So that's maybe one reason why the people in the structure got more injured than people who used a more neutral shoe like the Nike React Infinity Run. But then again, you also have to consider that a lot of runners do get injured using neutral shoes, and that's because they really needed a bit more help with the running motion, especially if they're starting out or if they're coming back from a long layoff and just rebuilding the fitness. um, so yeah, that's what the Nike React Infinity Run is really meant to be for. It's meant to help you along on your journey and keep you running. And maybe when you get more fit, then you can start looking into the more performance um, side of their shoe lines, next percent, if you can afford it. All right, guys, that's the entire review. Thank you so much for listening. Do you have any comments, suggestions, wild reactions? Let me know in the comments below. If you haven't yet, please subscribe to this channel. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up, and I will see you again next time.